July is always the favorite time of year for me here in the gardens. Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and today we're going to take you for a walk through our waterfall garden. As you can see behind me, there are so many beautiful hydrangeas in bloom, but that's not the only thing that's beautiful. So let's go ahead and take a walk through this garden. We're going to start off though right up front and center, the hydrangeas. This is the Invincible Spirit 2 hydrangea. This plant gets about 4 foot tall by 4 foot wide. These here actually are Love and Life. They're a little bit taller, upwards of 5 foot tall. They're part of the Reblooming Hydrangea series, the Invincible series. Beautiful pink blooms, just definitely a very iconic plant of summer is the hydrangeas. We also have the spirea. These are the double play gold spirea with their beautiful golden foliage. They've already bloomed, but even though after they're done blooming, you can still see just what that vibrant touch of gold does here in the landscape. And talk about mass planting. We went crazy this year, as we do every year, let's be serious, with our sun patiens. Here we have the beautiful hot pink sun patiens lining upwards towards our waterfall garden. Sun patiens, as the name implies, like to be grown in full sun. They don't really need a lot of fertilizer, but they do like their water. Just behind these beautiful hot pink sun patiens is the Sweet Romance lavender. It's in its prime right now, and we are just seeing the pollinators loving it. There are honeybees just really enjoying it right now, along with the painted lady butterflies. We've seen a lot of painted lady butterflies in the gardens the last few weeks or so. So it's just really neat to see just all the various pollinators that are brought to the garden with the various plants that we're planting here. As we head towards the waterfall, you'll notice one of our ponds, we kind of just keep very natural. If cattails start growing in it, we do have to remove them because they become kind of a block to the traffic when they're pulling out. There's a lot of frogs that hang out in this pond, so that's why we've just kind of kept it natural for the wildlife that's around. You can see these beautiful cherry cordial begonias with the really dark glossy black foliage and the vibrant red blooms. Such a beautiful splash of color in this garden. As we're looking closer here to the actual waterfall garden, you'll see we've got the white wands veronica that's kind of edging in that little fall there. They're about halfway done. When they're done blooming, we'll give them a light trim for an additional rebloom throughout the summer. The top of the waterfall we have lined with the sun-credible sunflowers. So as the summer goes on, the sun-credible sunflowers will get to be 3 to 4 foot tall and just create kind of a fun, whimsy look up there at the top of the fall. More of the sun patiens lining as the falls go down. This year, in the middle of the fall, it's always been kind of a tricky area for us. We plant random things in there, and I don't know, we just haven't found the recipe to what likes to be planted there. But I think this year we have found the recipe that we've been trying to figure out for years, and that's the sun patiens with the Euphorbia diamond frost. It's doing very well in that spot in the garden. So I'm taking notes of what works and what doesn't, and I'm sure you do the same thing. There's certain areas of your garden you may like better than others. So it's always important to take notes so when it comes to garden planning for next year, you know what went right and maybe what went wrong, because we know there's always something that doesn't go perfectly. As we make our way around, you'll notice we continued the line of the sun patiens, and then we did mix a few other annuals in this spot as well, just to kind of break up the color a little bit. So we've got the lime thyme coleus with its beautiful chartreusey yellow foliage, along with the torchlight coleus. I think a lot of people think coleus are typically a plant that is more of a shade type plant, and to be honest, here in Michigan, these color blaze coleus have much more intense and vivid coloration when we give them some sunshine. So depending on where you live, coleus may or may not be well suited for full sun, but here in Michigan, they are just loving it. We also have the surefire white begonias in here with their green foliage and the white blooms. As you can see, they're not quite as aggressive. as the cherry cordial, but they're doing very nice in this landscape. And then a few of the Argyratum Artist Blue, because I just love the beautiful mounding blue color that they add into this garden space. And again, you'll see how we repeated throughout in these little sections the various annuals, just to create some consistency as you're walking through the garden. We have our daylilies are just starting to bloom. Those are the Going Bananas re-blooming daylilies from Proven Winners, and they are just starting and are really putting on a show. The nice thing with the re-blooming daylilies is they continue to bloom throughout the summer. A lot of daylilies, it's kind of, they have their point in time and they're done. But if you can find yourself some re-bloomers, they'll extend that daylily season in your garden. We also have some of the Pennisetum rubrum grass, which is that beautiful dark burgundy grass. That is an annual grass here in Michigan. And the thing I like about it is it just kind of creates a little bit of a border to these annuals. And it's so pretty with grasses in the garden because they just add so much motion as they kind of sway and swing in the breeze. Making our way to the back side of the Waterfall Garden, not all the beauties up front. Sometimes you got to just drive in to see the full picture. So as we look here at the back side of the Waterfall Garden, you'll see we have the Paint the Town Dianthus. These are blooming in May, just a mass of color, which is their time to shine. But throughout the summer, these Paint the Town Dianthus are going to continue to do this. I like to call it kind of spitter spatter blooms, so it's not one and done. You'll continue to get some flowers throughout the summer, which creates some interest to these little mounds. We've got some more of the Argyratum and begonias tucked in this little space, along with Peruvian lily or Alstroemeria. The unique things with these plants is these are annuals in Michigan, but this is the third year they've come back in our garden. So Zone 8 coming back into Zone 6A, I'll take that any day. But even if they didn't, they gave us lots of color because they are one of the longest blooming perennials in a garden. And Daisy May, oh my goodness, look at the beautiful blooms of Daisy May. It's not just one plant, it's just not two plants. It's 3, 4, 5, 6 plants of Daisy May looking gorgeous in this garden. And you can see this is just a full canopy of those very iconic daisy looking blooms. And once these blooms have died, they're going to berry. So this plant buries its dead and it'll send up another flush of blooms. Or you can go in and trim off the spent blooms if you want. But deep down, if we look within, there are more buds in this plant. And we're going to kind of go in and show you. Right there, there's another bud starting to form. And there's more just like that buried in here. So when these are finished, it's got a whole nother cycle of blooms just waiting to happen. Bubblegum petunia, because you can't have a garden without the Supertunia Vista bubblegums. They are such a ground mat of color. Supertunia Vista bubblegum, one plant can get up to 3 foot wide with the proper water and fertilization. And I guess this is a good time to tell you, with Supertunias in your baskets or planters or in the ground, it's very important to keep them fed. Feed them once a week and they are going to reward you with beautiful blooms that last throughout the summer. You may ask your neighbors, what is the trick to getting those Supertunias so big, so full, and so beautiful? And I guarantee your neighbors are going to tell you, feed them. They'll be fabulous. The Tough Stuff hydrangea, check this out. This is a mountain hydrangea. These have been in our gardens now for probably going on 10 years now. And look at all the beautiful blooms. They bloom off of the new and off of old growth. So typically here in Michigan, sometimes these mountain or big leaf hydrangeas can be a little finicky if we have a bad winter. But the Tough Stuff hydrangeas have reliably been blooming and re-blooming here in our gardens for the last 10 years. So we like to use the Tough Stuff or mountain hydrangeas a lot if we're going to be planting the big leaf type of hydrangeas. Now you'll notice the coloration on these is slightly purple. Depending on your soil, they may range anywhere from like a bright pink to a deep purple. So just know that, soil does vary the color of the flowers you're going to see on your Tough Stuff or mountain hydrangeas. And it's just not one mountain hydrangea tough stuff that looks great. Here's the second one, equally as beautiful and just loaded with blooms that are now starting to flower. It's hydrangea season, and it's just a great time of year. If you have any questions or comments on today's tour, please feel free to leave them below. If you're new to our station, we welcome you to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.